from PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster who, I don't even know, I don't have anything funny or witty to say. So I'm like totally drawn. Talk about the perfect place. Where's the perfect place to draw a bank? Draw blank is a sleep podcast, but I can't even say draw blank. I said draw bank. Where's the perfect place to draw a bank? Well, anywhere, the perfect place, piece of paper or a paper-like, something similar to paper or something like paper or, anything. I mean, anything where you would use things to draw on, anything drawable. You could draw a bank, draw a blank. You don't have to, unless you're doing it metaphorically, as I'm an expert at. You could do it anywhere. So anytime, anywhere, I'm drawing blanks to take it. Welcome to Sleep With Me, the podcast that's here to keep you company and take your mind off stuff so you could fall asleep. Did I say, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and friends beyond the binary? I hope I did. Because I'm so glad you're here. This show is if you're new, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. This is a strange podcast. You've already kind of witnessed that. I'm a different person than what you would expect. Definitely I'm not the host you would expect of a sleep podcast, which has been running over 10 years. But that's what I do. Because I've been there, and I want to help you fall asleep by taking your mind off stuff and keeping you company so that you could fall asleep, but by being a mild distraction and a friendly voice in the deep, dark night. And the way the show works, it does take a couple tries to get used to. It is just so different, but it's just like you're talking to a friend who never gets to the point. So just see how the show goes. Give it a few tries. What we got coming up, there's support. So paying for the podcast is optional. A lot of people like to listen to this free version. A lot of people like to listen to this ad-supported version linearly, or that's how most people listen, but it is adjustable. I'll talk about that later on. Then there's a long, meandering intro. Has nothing to do with the support for the show. It's meant to ease you into bedtime. After that will be our bedtime story from our friends are walking around a mall doing stuff, helping people out. And then there's thank yous at the end. So it's a structure show. I'm really glad you're here. And thanks for coming by. And here's a couple ways I'm able to do this for you for free twice a week. All right, everybody, this is a part of the show where really I'm not here to convince you to Sleep With Me directly on Sleep With Me Plus. I don't need to convince you that part, right? You know that Sleep With Me is a part of your life. If you're a regular listener, it makes your life better. It's there when you need it in the deep, dark night. When things are really tough, it's something you turn to. And when you think about the other services you pay for, are any of those ones you turn to more than Sleep With Me? And do any of those services have thousands of episodes, ad-free, story-only versions, your favorites on locations, fearless flyers, all organized for easy listening? Are any of those services a part of your life, like your boyfriend is? You count on the podcast, and the podcast counts on listener support. And the hardest part of this whole thing isn't convincing you should pay for a free podcast. It's convincing you. It's getting the message across to you. Hey, could you do it right now? I know you're going to bed. I know it's not the best time. Or could you set an alarm on your phone and set it for whatever, 9 a.m. tomorrow? Go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. And when you sign up, you should feel really good about it because you're guaranteeing the consistency of Sleep With Me, that it'll be there on the regular basis when you need it and when other people need it. And that's something our supporters feel really good about. They're a part of something special. And the way the special thing continues is because they're a part of it. And you could be a part of that too. And I know you want to. It's just a matter of getting over that little hump. That's been the hardest thing about keeping Sleep With Me sustainable over the years. It isn't that people don't want to support the show. It isn't that we don't have enough listeners. It's that we're so effective at putting people to sleep. It makes it tough to keep the show going sometimes. So if you really believe in Sleep With Me, if it's a part of your life, Think about supporting it right now. sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Oh, Mr. Bart, a lot of people help out on this show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes too. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the mystery bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at JonathanMann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. Don't forget, if you're looking for sleep phones, you can get those at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleepphones. And, yeah, that's it. I'm really glad you're here. And what do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake, whether that's thoughts, things you're thinking about, thoughts on your mind, thoughts about the past, present, the future, so thinking thoughts, feelings, anything coming up for you emotionally related to those thoughts or feelings that are just there. It could be physical sensations, it could be changes in time, temperature, routine, travel, guests. You could work a different shift, or you could have a job where your work and your sleep schedule's not ideal. You could be just going through something, or you could have something coming up. Whatever it is, I'm glad you're here. I really hope I can help you fall asleep. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send my voice across the deep, dark night here. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, and superfluous tangents. All to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff so that you could fall asleep. And because you deserve a good night's sleep. Pointless meanders and superfluous. I don't know if I've mispronounced superfluous in that way. Superfluous. It definitely sounds like a made-up word. I mean, it was accidentally made up. What do they call that when you accidentally make up a word? Is that a Freudian mistake? Because superfluous. It sounds, I don't know, there was this movie called The Never-Ending Story, and it sounds like if there was a Never-Ending Story Part 3 or something. It would be one of another furry being that flies. Oh, that's superfluous. I think it'd have fur, just because the fur is in its name. What else? I mean, there's a lot of different ways to use that word, superfluous. Maybe some sort of animated movie where people talk in nonsense, or a sleep podcast. Oh, but superfluous tangents means just I go off topic a lot. Obviously, just did that. My voice is not traditionally soothing, but I do have creaky, dulcet tones. The reason I make the show is kind of the most important thing. And I make the show for two reasons. One, you deserve a good night's sleep. You deserve a bedtime where you could get the rest you need, and you deserve a bedtime without rigmarole, a bedtime you don't have to dread. Maybe a bedtime you could look forward to or feel neutral about at least, and say, well, at least I got that pod guy who's going to not make any sense again and mispronounce a word and then say it 50 times and what is that called? Pontificate on imaginary word. Well, I didn't imagine the word. I can't take credit for that. It was a spontaneous combustion, it was a spontaneous, I mean, it combusted out of my mouth, or spontaneous, I don't know. It was a spontaneous creation of a word. I wasn't actually because what does it mean if spontaneous? Does that mean if it happens out of your control? Does that mean you just did it on, out of the blue? I don't know the answer to that one either, but you deserve a good night's sleep. I know that. And you not just like a one night's sleep, but consistently on a regular basis, not in a perfect way, not 100% of the time, but consistently get the rest you need so your life is more manageable, that your day tomorrow could be better, and that you could live your life. And ideally, you could be out there flourishing down the road. And that means your world's a better place to be in. It means our whole world's a better place to be in. But also the other thing is that it's not easy. I've been there. Tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep, trouble waking up early. I've had all those. I still do. And so it's really important for me to help anybody I can. And I know the show does not help everybody. I'll talk about that in a minute. But if this podcast can help you feel less alone in the deep, dark night and take your mind off of stuff or soothe you, that's important to me because I've been there and I know how it feels for me. And if it feels like that for you or anything similar, it's important to me to try to help in this way that I've kind of learned over the years that helps the people it helps. Now, this podcast does not work for everybody, but the people it works for, it does take a couple tries to get used to. And then they say, oh, I had no idea I was always looking for something like this. But they don't say that right away. At first, you're going to be skeptical or doubtful or confused. You're like, what is this dude talking about? Superfluous. That was one word of the year in 2020 to something. So I don't know what he's talking about. Maybe 2037, it'll be the word of the year. Superfluous. Or you see, like accidentally got into, it's not a word, but it was in a spelling competition. Superfluous. I still can't, made it up. Superfluous. Made it up. Can't even spell it. F-U-R. I hope. Maybe there's PH. I don't know anything. So I really don't. Can't spell a word I made up. You see, you have full rights to spell it. And I say, no, it's got to follow some, it's got to make some sense. I mean, even like other made up words, they follow whatever that is. I don't know. The construction of words is a technical exercise, and I am not a certified technician. Would you believe that? I'm not a certified word technician? You would believe that. Well, it's good. So this podcast just takes some getting used to. One, because it's a podcast you just barely listen to. It's kind of like background noise that you can tune in and out of, like a TV on in the other room or a sitcom that you got turned down or a friend you're talking to on the phone. And you say, just tell me about what you did like 5 years ago, what you could remember about it, but only the boring parts. Or tell me a story, but take 5 times as long as a normal person would to tell it to me. Lots of details, but no good details. I'd say, okay, no problem. I got it. And they say, but with this show, it's like, did you start telling the story or not? And I say, yeah, I'm always telling it. So it's a podcast you don't really listen to. It's also a sleep podcast. And I'm not here to put you to sleep. I'm here to keep you company while you fall asleep, to take your mind off of stuff. There is no pressure to fall asleep with this show. That's why the episodes are over an hour. That's why there's over 600 shows that you could listen to or you could pick and choose from or whatever works for you. So there's no pressure to fall asleep. You don't have to worry, is this show going to be over in 10 minutes or 15 minutes? No, you could create a all-night playlist if you need to. I'm here to be your boyfriend, your boy-bae, your boy-sib, your boy-bud, your boy-bee, your neighbor, your boy-bestie, your boys, your boyfriend, to keep you company while you fall asleep. Not so much to put you to sleep. Ideally, you would just wake up tomorrow and say, oh, yeah, he was talking about something. I don't know if maybe he's saying chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim cheree or something, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's a different song from a different movie. I don't know. I can't remember. But oh boy, did I fall asleep. The other thing is like some people, and I guess it's a little late to tell you this, but some people have like beyond strong distaste for me, we'll just say. And I've heard it described to me in like maybe a million different ways. And that's fine. I actually have a website set up. I've had it for years. sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. Well, I do recommend giving the show a few tries and seeing how it goes. If you're totally like, put off already, check that website out. It's got other cool sleep podcasts on there and sleepy stuff. Because you're not alone. If you have beyond strong distaste for me, you're not alone. So you don't like, honestly, I'm not saying this. I mean, partially so that I could keep making the show and maintain some semblance of dignity, but also because you don't need to let me know. Just check out that website and maybe find something else that helps you fall asleep. Because I have been doing this for 10 years, so I've heard of a lot, I don't need to hopefully you find something else because you still deserve it. Yeah, it's like find a nice sleep podcast that works for you or some other kind of audio. And that's what that website's for. Other things that throw people off don't listen to the show, doesn't make sense, takes a while to get you. Structure the show. Just trying to make sure I don't forget anything else that it takes getting used to. So the show is designed in a way that you can adjust how you listen to it, but this is just what works for most listeners. And then see what works for you. After you listen to 4 or 5 times and you start falling asleep, maybe just listen to it like this, or maybe you change it up. So the show starts off with a greeting. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That way you feel seen and welcomed in. You say, okay, I might check that show out. Then there's support. So paying for the show is optional. You can support the sponsors, and then you get to listen, and that's that's how we're able to do that. Or if you want to support the show directly, then you could skip the sponsor stuff. But most people like the ad-supported version. Then it's separate from the support. We're about 15 minutes into it already. Is our intro. Now, the intro is a show within a show. It's different every single time. It follows a familiar structure so that whatever keeps you awake has some variety and some familiarity at the same time. But the intro is not actually designed to put you to sleep. It does put some people to sleep. But for most people, the intro is part of easing you into bedtime, of getting ready for bed, of unwinding, of getting comfortable or winding down, doing a chill activity while you're listening to the intro. And, it's just meant to kind of ease you into bedtime, right? That's what the intro is supposed to do. So just see how it goes. That's like the intro kind of hopefully helps you drift off into dreamland. But it's like a buffer between sleep and the day. That's just what works for me personally. It's what most studies say. Have a wind down routine. So that's what the intro is. You could skip the intro. 2% of people do. You could listen to bedtime stories with Sleep With Me if you wanted to go straight to the story and you don't like the intro. But for most people, it's just easing you into bedtime, or you could support the show on Sleep With Me. Plus, you get it in a variety of formats. So that's the intro. Then there's support. Then there'll be our bedtime story. Tonight will be our episodically modular series Multiplex. And that's some friends walking around the mall helping out and some talk about cereal. And I think that's it. I don't know. I'm really glad you're here. It's really an honor for me to try to help. My sleep has been, I've just had stuff going on, and so I know how it feels. And I'm really glad to be here to try to help you. And I really appreciate you checking the show out if you're new, or you regular listeners that come back time after time, who send me, share your stories with me or support the show, or just listen and enjoy the show passively. I really appreciate it. It really is an honor to make this show. And hopefully I can keep doing this so long into the future for you. And when, this becomes like a friendship, but a bore friendship where you say, there's my bore friend. Don't pay him. I barely listen to him all the time. So I'm glad you're here. I appreciate you checking the show out. Thanks again for coming by. Myself and a team of people work really, really hard on this show. So we all appreciate it. We yearn and strive to help you fall asleep. And here's a couple of ways we're able to do this for you for free twice a week. Sleep With Me is brought to you by Progressive. Most of you aren't just listening right now. You're driving, cleaning, and even exercising. But what if you could be saving money by switching to Progressive? Drivers who save by switching save nearly $750 on average, and auto customers qualify for an average of 7 discounts. Multitask right now. Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $744 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2022 and May 2023. Potential savings will vary. Discounts not available in all states and situations. All right, everybody, Scoots here. This is our episodically modular series, Multiplex. My mind went blank for a second. It does have a touch of seriality, and the main character, Wyatt, will get you caught up on the plot and the story. But it's also episodically modular, meaning you can listen to it in any order because the main character will get you caught up on the plots. It's modular, meaning you can move the modules around. I don't know if anybody uses that term, episodic. And there's other words like that. I mean, there are words in many different I think languages are composed of words. But not all of them. Words. There's some languages with words, including right now. But what I was trying to say was that, those were not words. Those were utterances. But they did have meaning. What I was trying to say is that you could listen to these in any order. That's what kind of modular means. You say, okay, this might be episode 12, but you could say one day there may be the Star Wars saga may get that far, and you'd say, 369. So let's just say then they go 10, 11, 12. And somebody, they just start going to the movies. When 12 comes out, they said, don't worry. You could, just come watch 12 with me. They have this thing at the beginning. It says it has a chapter title. Then it says, this happened and then this happened. Because there's stuff even in between the movies that happens. And they do the screen scroller thing. And then you could watch the other... we could watch the other 11, but maybe, you don't have, maybe there's, or, we could watch those in any order because there'll be a little bit of a choice. And, you might even want to watch more than just those 11 because I'm a big fan of a couple of the ones that don't have numbers, but that might just be me. So, and also, there's someone who I've probably called. I don't know if he's not episodically modular, but oh boy, if there was a module that did everything, he has many modules. You could never replicate him with modules, I guess. But he, if you could label his many skills modules. Or if he was, a class, if he was going to give a master class, it would be a master class in class, because he's classy, and there's, so many more things. He's also our Hollywood announcer. He comes all the way from the greater Los Angeles area. He comes on stored solar energy most of the time. So I've tried to get him to come on stored thermal energy, also by way of like creating a place where I could live that has like, that's like, cooled and heated by geothermal energy and powered by it. He has not taken me up on that offer. You know, I have given him, you know, a budget range, but then he said, that's a lot of zeros. I said, yeah, I mean, this is cutting edge. And then he just laughs and pats me on the back, like I'm making a joke. But, like, I think he thinks, like, I'm, like, 90% serious, 10% joking. And the only 10% I'm joking is, like, just in case you turn me down and you don't want to create a geothermal mansion I could live in for free. I mean, not for free, you know, as a gift to me. Just in case you don't want to do it. I'm only 90% serious. But when he laughs... It's a very classy laugh. It's not like he really thinks like that I have the same gravitas and class as him. So he probably thinks like it's like 5% I'm serious and 95% joking. But there's probably within that 95% of joking, for him, there's a range of types of joking, right? So that's why he laughs and claps me on the back in a way that's actually soothing. Even though because it's so soothing. He has such a he's self-actualized. I mean, no doubt about it. In a way that soothes me, even though I say, dude, no, I'm serious. Like, I really want you to build. And then he says, I know you're serious. So it's almost like my unreality is filtered through his self-actualization. And then it becomes, so it goes from me being pretty much serious about him building me a mansion to live in based on technology that may or may not exist, which would also cause, you know, you have to fund the research and plus also on the timeline, like pretty soon, like let's get this going. Also be great if it was you know, because I might not, you know, I might want to be moving around. And then when it's filtered through his whatever, his class and whatever, gravitas, maybe my whole idea is wrong. Maybe I need to live in a mansion powered by your gravitas. I mean, isn't that one of the technologies in science fiction, like a gravity sink engine, gravitas? There's something about a gravity sink somewhere. Could we have a gravitas, the gravitas impeller or something? What do you think about that? He shrugged. But anyway, it went on and on and on just to set the room, I mean, I was just trying to be like, no, dude, I'm serious, like, about this. It's not like I'm asking it for free. I'm just saying, I don't know. Like I say, if you're in a position where you want to build me a mansion and also have it, you could just build me a mansion. Like, that's the thing. Like, you just giving me a mansion wouldn't make sense. But if it was powered by your gravitas or it would make great. Look at this podcast material we're getting out of it. But anyway, this is our welcome to our Hollywood announcer, Mr. Antonio Banderas. So friends behind the binary, so ladies and gentlemen, so boys and girls, it's time for Multiplex. Chicka. Whoa, boy, that one, you just powered me for a week, dude. Never mind. I take it. I feel like I have an internal mansion. Like they taught, like almost like I feel like I've met with a guru just from listening to you make that sound. And I've discovered a palace inside me. Though, really be good, even though I've discovered my internal palace, powered by your sound effects, be great to park my internal palace in a geothermal mansion. And then I could sing who lives in a geothermal mansion with a view of the sea. And then you could laugh, like, right? So, no? Okay. Well, anyway, that's Mr. Antonio Banderas. This is Multiplex, everybody. Good evening, everybody. My name's Wyatt. I'm here recording these audios for reference, so you could hear a story that hasn't been heard before. An adventure of friends, an adventure of the lifetimes of many lifetimes, I guess. Adventure I'm telling for two reasons. One, to clear the air because I got some attention on the internet because I used to make a public access television show where I would show movies, and they would be old movies about autumnal archetypes. And then sometimes I would interview the autumnal archetypes. And people always were like, wow, that's some great makeup. That's some great, who's the performer? Who is it? Like, even casting directors now reach out to me. I say, well, one, that was a long time ago. That was a public access show. To be honest, I just didn't reply because I didn't post them on the internet. Other people did. And, everybody said I was brilliant. And it's not true. Like, I'm clearing the air that those were friends of mine. There was no makeup. There wasn't any acting. How did you meet somebody like that then? That's one part of this story. That's the less important part, actually. Because the more important part is how do people become, four friends on an adventure of a lifetime. Four friends headed in different directions, but three of us were on on our own paths. And I say this with all humility, to greatness. To greatness as defined by the society, to greatness as defined by our family's expectations, to greatness as defined by ourselves. Maybe greatness externally and internally. I don't know what it felt like because we never achieved the kind of greatness we seemed to set out to achieve at the beginning of this adventure. Each of us was a striver, successful, driven, focused, all those things. People said, oh, the places you'll go. But they meant on an upward progression. Oh, the doors that'll open as you go along this path. But we were on that path, and then we went on this adventure. And the adventure led each of us to a different path. So paths, I think, is a more where the paths, instead of going upward, went not inward, but a path towards people among people, towards a life without flash photography. I mean, unless we're choosing it, without I don't know, you know what I mean? Just life well lived. I don't. If you're paying attention, you'll learn more about it. But it's the kind of story no one wants to hear. That you say, well, how'd you become? You're not that interesting, but you got a lot of interesting stories. And I say, yep, yes, yep. Oh, okay. All right, thanks. That's kind of where we ended. That's the truth and a metaphor. You say, well, boy, that was one exciting tale I heard about you being in. Yeah. Anyway, you want a lemonade while we sit here and listen to the crickets? Well, I thought we'd talk about the meaning of life. And then I would just say, we're going to listen to the crickets and drink lemonade. But even in my mind, I wouldn't know that I was, because I'm recording this, I say, oh, okay, I see it now. So anyway, I got a little high-minded there. I guess we're talking about how I didn't become high-minded. Funny. But we're talking about adventure in a shopping mall with myself, Wyatt, my friends Josie and Santos, and then Boyd, the corncob kid, a classmate of ours who we became friends with because of this adventure. and we were in a shopping mall. We had got into the shopping mall, been closed for years. We were looking for Julius J. Juice concentrate that we were going to use because I had lost a scholarship to school. And I wasn't going to be able to go without that scholarship. So we are going to take this abandoned Julius J. Juice concentrate, and Boyd was going to sell it, and we were going to make money. And it was going to help me towards my college dreams, my university dreams. But what happened is when we entered the shopping mall, we found, first we thought we were in some sort of immersive theater because we kept running into beings, autumnal archetypes from movies. And there was a sense of unreality, like we're in an immersive theater. Mall had been closed for years, but it was functional. Some stores were stocked. Other stores would become stocked. There was food to eat. There was employees who would come and go. Some of the stuff we still haven't figured out at this point in the story, but along the way we learned, one, the autumnal archetypes, like the mommy, the Count of Chocolate, Franny, who had to deal with, Franny goes by other names too. The person who couldn't be seen, they all needed help. And if we helped them, they would be able to get back into their movies. They'd come out of the multiplex into the mall. But they need to get back into the multiplex, get back into their movie. But we had to help them get back in the movie because most of those movies, they don't end nicely for the autumnal archetypes. And that's not to say that the autumnal archetype, we still hadn't figured out what to do with the person who couldn't be seen because their movie, while it gets their movie, all of our brows were furrowed because of the behavior of the person who couldn't be seen. So we had tried to help them. We still were unresolved. But when we helped the other beings get back to their movies, suddenly their movies became cereal commercials. For cereals they would be the star of. And along the way, we found out a couple other things. One, time behaves differently there. One day in the mall, in the multiplex in the shopping mall equals 1 hour in our world we came from. And also the mall is where an intersection of a transverse plane or something like that, where universes intersect. So it wasn't a performance piece. And how we knew that was we ran into somebody other than the autumnal archetypes who ran into a cereal mascot. So kind of the reverse. We're helping autumnal archetypes become cereal mascots. I don't know if that's the right word. Serial star, I guess. We met Crispy Commander, Captain. I always get his name mixed up, even now. Crispy Commander, Commander Crunch. Definitely Crispy Captain, Crispy Commander Crunch. And he was not human, but living, like a giant hat with eyes and ears and a nose and a mouth and arms and legs. Not as tall as us, but not that much small enough to fit in a large grandfather clock to sleep in. And very bright colored. Great question. So like an animated being come into 3 dimensions to join us. And we had already suspended our disbelief. Commander Crunch gave us a mission, but we were already on. Keep helping the autumnal archetypes. I'm here because of the transverse plane. I'm gonna pay. You're gonna get paid because we're actually helping them. This is supposed to happen. Is basically what Commander Crunch presented it as. we have to help we don't know why. We have to help these autumnal archetypes become serial characters, serial stars. And somehow the Crispy Commander is a part of that, and that will get compensated by the cereal company. And, obviously we're helping. And also, if we don't help, they could just leave the mall. It may be pretty hard to leave, is our understanding. But, I mean, especially thus far, we would definitely want the person who couldn't be seen walking around, going to our houses, and eating our food or rearranging our furniture. Or what Josie strongly felt is that in the film, the person who can be seen would take people's bikes without their permission, ride it recklessly, and then throw it in a canal. And I mean, if that isn't the depths of malice, I don't know what else could be classified as like poor autumnal archetype behavior. So much so that we haven't thus far been able and willing to help the person who can be seen return to their film. And we even contemplated stopping their film to see what would happen. And it was in that process that we discovered, we already knew there's some sort of magical or, non-normal force going here with the transverse plane. It was controlling the projectors. Because the movies were always on loops, obviously, like something could come in and out of the movies. The movies could be changed. Eventually, they'd be changed into cereal commercials. But also we found when we were looking around the projector room for one of the theaters in the Multiplex, we found a little hideout for a Crispy Commander. And it was full of like love poems and drafts of love letters. And we were reading them and going through them and processing them. And that's actually where I left my tail off, so we'll pick right up. So let me, so we were reading these things, we'd found them, and we were kind of started reading them and resting and then discussing things. And it was kind of, I don't know, we felt a little bit weird because we had kind of stumbled into it by accident, but you could not read love poems and love letter drafts from it's just degrees of strangeness, I guess. You say, I thought we suspended our disbelief, but now we have to, it's like going into an onion. Now we have to suspend our disbelief again because this was love poems written by a serial star. And as we read through things to a human being, but even in layers than that, I'm trying to figure out how to explain it. But I guess I'll just go ahead and explain it. As far as we could piece together, this had been something that had been happening over a period of time. And again, because time outside was slower or inside, it meant that, I don't know. We couldn't quite place a timeline on how long the Crispy Commander had been there, right? And been writing letters, because time was passing differently. But it was, the poetry was, I'm not trying to say this in a judgmental way, very basic. And it did over time kind of get better and better and better, but we were reading it out of order. But Santos was and Boyd were big. They were like, okay, well, they kind of almost started putting it in piles by how good it was. And it did go by kind of like kindergarten it never got to middle school, the poetry. And that was our sense, was these weren't love letters. They were written as love letters at first, but they were more drafts of letters of a crush. But then they started to get the letters. Well, the poetry kind of hit a plateau. The drafts of the letters were, it was hard to follow because there was stuff we didn't understand in there about retirement. That's like the retirement. Crispy Commander had a vibrance, so we're like, not that you can't have a vibrance when you retire, but it was just confusing. And then there was something about a commercial. Because so first we thought, okay, this is maybe somebody from the cereal world. But then Josie was really following. She said, no. This is like an actress from a cereal commercial. And it sounds like she was like in grad school, either in the commercial or when you're reading someone else's love letters, trying to drafts of love letters even, you're piecing it together. And said, okay, well, and then it became like these coaching letters, like almost like at first Crispy Commander didn't realize, or even if like a childish way of like, oh, this is just an actress in a commercial. But then it became like a artistic acting coach drafts. And there was a lot to read, right? So this was slowly being revealed to us. And at first it was like, but then, because Josie and I were kind of the ones reading letter drafts. And again, these were a bit out of order. So then we were trying to organize it in a way that made any sense, but it was very, very confusing. But what we knew was that, and again, then Josie was like, maybe this isn't even real. Like, this is maybe all like fiction to pass the time. And I said, okay, well, explain it to me, like if it's fiction to pass the time. And Josie said, okay, so let's just say it's boring being here. Maybe the Crispy Commander's been here for a very, very long time, right? Maybe there's something going on with these cereal commercials. Maybe the Crispy Commanders are like watching TV somewhere, or because but so it seems like the Crispy Commander saw this commercial with this grad student in it. And it felt like there was some sort of there was already a degree of whatever the retirement is, seems like the Crispy Commander was down about that. Then there's something about the commercial where the Crispy Commander felt I don't know, something frowny faced. Then the Crispy Commander realizes that it's a commercial. And so it's almost like, and then the Crispy Commander started writing letters. Maybe these aren't drafts, even though there's a lot of mistakes in here. Maybe it's just like it's a thing. And we're all like, oh boy, this is interesting. But Josie said, yeah, maybe it's just like to cope, like an invention, like a fiction. And I said, so the commercial might be real, but there's not an actress. I mean, or is there an actress? But so you're saying the Crispy Commander's pretending to be her acting coach and writing these fictional letters. I guess I'm more comfortable with that. And pretending to send them to her, like, and coach her through her acting and encourage her. And then we started to get deeper into it, and then it seems like though the Crispy Commander's presenting an opportunity for her to come here and perform in an immersive theater and like a camp, acting camp. And then we were like, Josie, are you the, and Josie said, no, it's not me. And I'll be honest, all of us were kind of sitting in our feelings of discomfort with all of this. And maybe it's just that, I don't know. But that's when we heard Crispy Commander. Or first we thought we heard something, and then the Crispy Commander said breakfast time. And then we knew it's Crispy Commander because that's what the Crispy Commander always says in the commercials. And the Crispy Commander is watching us from the vent discuss. We didn't know how long the Crispy Commander had been there or what we had said. But the Crispy Commander knew enough and said, so you found my letters and poems. And we said, sorry, we just found them. We didn't. And the Crispy Commander first was going to hop down, but then hung down and dropped from the vent. I said, I guess that's fine, but it probably needs a pretty long, meandering explanation. And we said, yeah, we're confused. Is this real or fiction? And Crispy Commander said, real. She's real. And I think we all got goosebumps at that, and not autumnal goosebumps, not Valentine's Day goosebumps. And the Crispy Commander sat down and started to tell us a tale. And it was quite a tale. First of all, the Crispy Commander said, I really haven't talked to you about where I come from. I come from the cereal world, right? And we said, man, why hadn't we we're so focused on these autumnal things? And the Crispy Commander said, I came here from a cereal world. It's kind of hard to explain because I don't understand it either. But it's like, do we come in existence because we came in existence in your world in a fictional way? Or are we already existing and then we come to exist in so this shopping mall is where there's a clear intersection of the transverse plane. But the Crispy Commander said, a collective unconscious might be one way of describing smaller crossovers. Did someone decide to make a Crispy Commander cereal and then I started living in my cereal world? Or was I living in my cereal world and then someone made a Crispy Commander cereal? And we said, well, why don't you know? And the Crispy Commander said, because my world's different than your world. And in my world, well, let me tell you about my cereal. It was popular for a while. But what I remember recently is that, there was a change in flavors and popularity. I used to be really popular. I know that. That's the way, I guess I don't remember things in the same way all of you do. But I remember them telling me I used to be popular. And then my popularity waned. And they said, well, we're making this Crispy Commander cereal. It's corn-based. It's not as popular anymore. And someone had an idea to add Frunchies, which is fruit crunchies, to my cereal. So there was my cereal, Crispy Commander. Then there was Crispy Commander and the Frunchies. And the Frunchies were side berry-based beings that I discovered on an adventure in the Frunchie forest. You don't have to over-explain it, but they're just, they were berry beings, but they're not real berries, right? They were crunchies. Now, they they weren't made from the same materials. This is a cereal, right? The Frunchies were made from something different than the Crispy Commander Crunchies. But then the Frunchies and I were, like, we were kind of friends in the cereal world, but not totally. You know, they had their own stuff going on, and they stayed among, you know, there was purple, green, yellow, red and orange, and they hung out with each other. But they were just called the Frunchies in the commercials, even though they had different voices. And they had different voices, obviously, in my world. So this is talking about both our worlds, right? And that helped, right? Suddenly my cereal was consumed again. But the Frunchies one was a little bit more popular than just my Crispy Commander, but it was still like a team thing. And then what happened was somebody thought of the idea of just doing Frunchies, just Frunchies they called it. Then they tried Freedom Frunchies, but whatever, like they call it, like there's a Frunchies only cereal. And that became way more popular. Also, there was a change in like what do they call that? The commodities market. I don't totally understand that. And Boyd did. So Boyd gave us a quick, brief overview of commodities. Said that, yeah, corn futures and Commander Crunch probably was what happened. So I became more expensive to make in the Frunchies, so they retired me, basically. They said, we're going to retire the Crispy Commander, and maybe one day we'll bring back a Crispy, you know, if the corn futures change or popularity, because people were over it. There was they're tired of corn-based, puffy, sugary cereals. And my time had come. Now, in our world, you were retired. And that was like, that in our world, it means something different than your world. Like your world, retirement's something nice, I think. I've seen some of the brochures around and some of the books in the bookstore. Our world, retirement meant you're no longer needed. And I wasn't around really down for that. Now, at the same time, we're still aware. Now, the thing is, if a person is in a cereal commercial, they don't come to our world, right? But we can see everything that's going. We can gotta get an idea because we're part of the commercial, right? I don't know. It's like a weird memory retention, like it was a real thing. So I can remember seeing these commercials, and once they decided Frunchies, they also they kind of made it like where, oh yeah, you probably never liked that Crispy Corn Commander, all bossy and all that, but you can have your Frunchies and eat it too. And that's when I saw her, like she was the star of that commercial. They said, don't you remember when you were a kid? Breakfast was something to look forward to. Now you're skipping. You're on the run. You're drinking lattes and shining but don't you need something to fuel your day? Wouldn't you like to start with a smile? Same smile you had as a kid, but that corn, what did it for you, right? But how about a familiar friend like the Frunchie, you know, something like that, and she was there. And, you know, she had stuff to do, and she was going places, and she needed the fueled by Frunchies. I think that was the shirt she wore. And I fell in love, or whatever you guys call it, a crush, a schoolboy crush. I think I heard one of you say it. And you're right, I didn't know the difference between a person in a commercial and an actress. But I suddenly was like, I'm not retiring. Well, I knew that path towards retirement was waiting for me. I was also rebellious, and I was like, now I have something to not retire for. Otherwise, you just kind of do, I don't know. So I said, I'm not being retired. Because if they were to retire me and then they brought back Crispy Commander, it'd be a new Crispy Commander, right? Because they anyway, you know what I mean. I think you guys call it Rainbow Bridge or Big Farm in the Sky or something. So I was like, I'm in love now, and I'm not gonna be retired, and I'm gonna figure out how to bridge this world. And I mean, it was childish, like y'all said, and then I found out what acting was in commercials because I met somebody that wanted to help me, and they said, "Well, I have a way to help you. I need some help too." And they had a whole philosophy, like, but they said, I have these other friends that need help, and I need somebody to go there and get things ready to help my friends get out of their world. And they explained it to me. They said, you'd come to this mall and you'd help them get out of their films, and then now be honest with all you, because, you probably are wondering if you can trust me anymore. Crispy Commander hasn't been honest with us. Crispy Commander's been up to something, but I'll be honest with you about my dishonesty, because I was also dishonest with this person I made a deal with. I figured out, the time runs differently here, right? So I had a little bit more time. And as I thought about, writing these letters and writing these love letters and eventually figuring out a way to get those letters sent, I figured out that I came up with another plan, right? I figured out, wait a second, if this world where the movie characters come from, and my world and your world are all intersected here, then maybe I could get access to the serial world too. And then I don't know, am I making any sense? I don't think you're all looking at me. So yeah, I tried to instead of because if I did what they did, the movie friends would just be walking around the mall here. I was supposed to just tend to them and actually keep them in the theater and not let them out. And they would be stuck on the loop, and they said eventually they'll come here once every character, because I had to start the movies, right? But I figured out something else. I said, wait a second, I could put them in I could make them into cereal with just a couple changes. I don't know. And then they wouldn't come into your world, right? Or they wouldn't be waiting here. So that person's going to come and they're not going to be happy with me, but I'll be gone, and you'll all be gone too, probably. We just need a little bit more time. They're not scheduled to come here yet till every movie's been played. They gave me all the film, and yeah. So and then I said, this doesn't make any sense at all, Crispy Commander. It's more confusing I'm more confused now than I've ever been. So you're saying, I don't know, does anybody have any questions that could even make this comprehensible? Yeah, and Josie said, yeah. Okay, let's just focus on one area here. So you have been sending letters to this actress. Is this really happening? She's coming here? And the Crispy Man said, thanks, Josie. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, she's coming here, and I'm going to need your help. And our minds were, Josie was somehow able to have some composure, but said, yeah, I'm going to need you to be here, like at an acting camp. and to help me. And I don't know, we were kind of at a loss of even like, so this is like, I don't know, like, what do you do when someone proposes an idea that's so, like, our belief had been reanimated, our disbelief. Josie said, I don't think we can help you, though. Like, why does she think she's coming here for acting lessons and an opportunity? None of this even makes any sense, and you're not. And then the Crispy Manor held up their hands and said, "Don't worry, I got everything figured out. You just have to trust me, right?" But I don't know. We like. Luckily, we were kind of lulled into silence because it was like, how can we possibly trust you when this is just like, I mean, no offense to the Crispy Commander, but I think Josie's point was like, you're not you're a living being, but you're not from our world, but she's an actress from our world. Like, I don't know if you're going on a pretty big assumption that, like, and you're not even being honest with her. She's coming here to go to acting camp at an immersive acting camp. And Josie said, no, this isn't okay. Like you got to tell her you can't even tell, there's no way you could tell anybody that. No one would believe it. And I said, Josie's right. Like, this is something's not right here, Crispy Commander. And all we were supposed to do was help, and we're trying to help. And then Santos took in a breath because Santos said, "How are the letters even getting out?" And then Santos was like, "The person who can't be seen." And the Crispy Commander nodded and said, "Yeah. Like you guys are helping me whether you want to or not." And yeah, the person who couldn't be seen was just buying time with all of you. We're working together, and I got a plan. And you're either going to help me. You're going to help me for the next 40 days or so here. And then you can go home. You'll have, you'll be ready to pay for school. You'll have kept your world from having a mall full of autumnal archetypes and some other figure controlling them. Or you could not help. And I don't see how that's even possible. But I do need your help or your assistance, and I think I have enough levers to use because the person who can be seen is we're getting ready to start another film, and the doors to that theater are open, and that person will follow a certain smell, and it could guide them wherever. And we said, wait a second, like, and so we already went through this with you, though. And who are you even working with, or who did you work against? And you can't just, and the Crispy Commander said, I don't see that any of you really, like, you might be acting like you're just going to have to make the best of it here. Like, Crispy Commander said, or you could try to leave, and then, you just abandon the mall, maybe go tell some adults, see what they say about it. Crispy Commander said, good luck, even if you get some authority figures to come by. I don't really see what they're going to do. Because if you notice, like, I'm not the only, like, the mall itself, the transverse plane is active. And we said, holy moly. But here's the thing that happened is that we all kind of didn't say anything, but we exchanged looks like, well, I don't know. We'd already formed a bond, I guess. that said we're going to have to, all, as Emma Otter said, because that was Emma Otter's, an Emmett Otter, all will be well. Maybe it was put in this sense in the Emmett Otter, ain't no hole in the wash tub. But even if there is a hole in the wash tub, you got to make the most of it. This was a pretty big hole there's holes in this cosmic wash tub. And it was like the jug, even the jug had holes in the jug, that the jug, we can't have a jug band with a jug that's made from Swiss cheese. And we just looked at one another and said, all will be well. We'll get this figured out. This is weird. This is as weird as it ever gotten, but in a way that we knew we could make it okay. We could figure it out. And that was our plan. And so that's where we're at now. And we decided to just show the Crispy Commander, okay, we'll do our best. And we just raised our hands and said, all right, this is a lot. I said to the Crispy Commander, but we have to do what's right. Maybe you have to figure out what's right too, Crispy Commander. Maybe that'll change from right now. It looks like you're growing up and from reading these letters, I don't know what's going to happen next, but we're going to try to help you the best we can. But all our fingers, I'll be honest with you, all will be well, but our fingers were also crossed behind our backs. Because we're going to make sure all would be well in the right, the way. We weren't just going to go along with it, But we also knew this is where we said, yeah, you're right. So we said, okay, this is kind of like if you were a senior in high school like we were, then somehow you were in 7th grade and somebody's running these 7th grade tricks on you. We said, okay, yeah. We'll do whatever you want, man. We're all yours. 7th grade tricks, but like pretty big stakes, but all will be well, like Emma Otter says. So all will be well, everybody. Good night. I want to thank everybody that started supporting the show on Sleep With Me Plus recently. Tasha, Candace, and Larissa, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Juliana, Nicole, and Xylene, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Kristen, Layla, and Jody, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Philip, Catherine, and Maya B, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Claire, Nav, and Kirk, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Devin, Katie, and Brianna, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Carly, Gregory, and Matt, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Moji, Justin, and Robbie, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Ramona, Naomi, and Vinny, thank you. Thanks, and good night. And Justin, Tara, and Michael, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Thanks for everybody who supports the show directly on Sleep With Me Plus, or Apple Podcasts, or supports our sponsors. That's how the team of people that work in the show are able to come here and bring you these episodes every single week. And if you're not in a position to support the show directly or support the sponsors, a huge way to support Sleep With Me is join our referral program, get rewarded for referring people to podcasts, or just share about podcasting in general, your favorite podcasts with people. It's a huge help to everybody around. So thanks so much. And here's Scoots either with a Tuck You In sponsor or a month in review. Thanks. All right, everybody, this is Scoots. I'm talking about my Helix mattress. It's time for you to take that Helix quiz at helixsleep.com/sleep. This past episode was made possible by our friends at Helix, and it just got back in town after about a week away, and I spent my first night on my Helix last night. My Helix Dusk Lux, and I was so glad to be back in my own bed, made for how I want to sleep, for my body, my sleep positions. I mean, I love my Helix mattress. Helix has 20 unique mattresses. They got an award-winning Luxe Collection, Ultra Premium Elite Collection, the Helix Plus, a mattress designed for big and tall sleepers. Helix Kids mattresses designed for growing bodies and endorsed by child sleep experts. But how will you know which Helix mattress is best for you and your body? You take the Helix quiz and you can find your perfect mattress in under 2 minutes. That personalized mattress is shipped straight to your door free of charge. Helix knows there's no better way to test out a new mattress than by sleeping in your own home. That's why they offer a 100-night trial and a 10 to 15-year warranty to try out your new Helix mattress. Everybody's unique. Everybody sleeps differently. That's why Helix has several different mattress models to choose from, each designed for specific sleep positions and field preferences. There's models with memory foam layers to provide optimal pressure relief if you sleep on your side, and models with a more responsive foam to cradle your body for essential support in stomach and back sleeping positions. There's enhanced cooling features to keep you from overheating at night, and if your spine needs some extra TLC, they got you. Every Helix mattress is a hybrid design, combining individually wrapped steel coils in the base, premium foam layers on top, perfect combination of comfort and support. When I took the Helix sleep quiz, I got matched with the Helix Dusk. I picked the Dusk Lux because I sleep on my side, I sleep on my stomach. I don't want to be overheating at night, so I love the cooling features. And not only was it an upgrade for me, it's an upgrade every mattress I sleep on, even at nice hotels, even visiting family and staying in a spare bedroom. I cannot wait to get back to my Helix. It's what I want to sleep on every single night. If I could pack it with me and take it wherever I go, I would. Not only is it the best mattress I have slept on, but the setup is fast and easy. The Helix mattresses are delivered in a box straight to your door for free. Plus, Helix mattresses all come with a 10 or 15-year warranty depending on the model. And if you don't want to take my word for it, Helix has been awarded the #1 mattress pick by GQ and Wired magazine. It's even recommended by multiple leading chiropractors and doctors of sleep medicine as a go-to solution for improving your sleep. And Helix is offering 20% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/sleep. That's helixsleep.com/sleep. This is the best offer yet, and it won't last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now. Good night, everybody.